This message is for my brothers and sisters in Christ who God has called you in this season to build something. He's doing a new thing in your life. He's called you out of an old place and he's having you do something you probably have never done before. Maybe you're starting a brand new job or switching careers or building a new business, or maybe like me, you're starting a YouTube. Whatever it is that God has called you to build in this season, I need you to listen to this message because what he told me is going to make the difference. So let's jump right into it. The Lord said that in this season, the enemy is trying to attack the small beginnings. He's attacking seeds, little seeds that the Lord is trying to water and get you to grow and birth into your life. He is coming viciously after those small beginnings, the things that we may think are insignificant now. They're things that the enemy knows the Lord is really going to prosper in our lives in the future. And so he wants to get rid of it before it even starts to bloom. That is exactly his agenda for the new thing that God is calling you to build. That thing you just started on. You just got the word. You're just getting the LLC. You're just starting to put out content. Whatever it is that you're just starting to build, whatever that seed is, that small beginning is, the enemy is very, very interested in making sure that it does not progress any further. And if you do not defend what God has called you to build in this season, you will be stuck for years in the building stage. It will not be able to prosper if you don't defend it while it is in its infancy. If you're not familiar with Nehemiah, I'm going to give you a quick recap of what's going on in Nehemiah and how the Lord revealed this to me and the story that he used to give me the wisdom of how we need to counteract what the enemy is trying to do right now. So if you're not into the Old Testament, I definitely recommend you go and read the book of Ezra and the book of Nehemiah to kind of get a bigger picture of what it is that the Lord is saying during this time and the season that we're in. There's a time and point where after the Israelites are exiled, I believe to Babylon initially, and then it turns into the Persian Empire. But when they're able to go back to the land of Jerusalem, they're allowed to rebuild the temple and rebuild the city gates and walls. And so Ezra goes back and they rebuild the temple, but there is so much opposition to them rebuilding the temple. There's opposition to them rebuilding the walls. The people that live around them do not want to see this city rebuilt. They don't want to see the city of God prosper. So they fight them every step of the way. There's opposition every step of the way. And in Nehemiah 4, where the Lord took me, is where they are trying to rebuild the wall. The temple has finally gone up, but they are halfway through this wall, and the cities around them, the districts around them are pissed. And they start to attack the Israelites in the middle of them building so that they don't finish this wall. They want to keep the city vulnerable. They want to keep them from having a defense against the nations around them. And so they are not happy that this wall is going up. And while they are doing the building, Nehemiah arms every single person that is working on this wall. They have swords. They have all their weaponry on them. As they're building, they're holding their wood with the one hand and a sword in another. Like they are day and night setting a watch around this wall, and they're anticipating that this is going to be a problem, and whenever they come, we're all going to come together and we are just going to defend this wall. But one thing we're not going to do is stop building. And so that's what happens in Nehemiah 4. I definitely encourage you to read it. But what the Lord has been showing me is that if you go into something, you start building something, you start walking in the thing that the Lord has called you to do, you agree with him and you say, yes, Lord, I will go. The enemy is going to start to attack what you're doing. And as soon as he sees you start making progress, you should expect a fight. You should expect that this is going to make the kingdom of darkness mad, and they are going to do what they have to do to put a stop to the progress that you're making. So with that in mind, here's the things that the Lord showed me that we really have to keep in mind as we are building, as we are going forward in the thing that the Lord has called us to do. Here's what you need to do to defend the new thing that God has called you to build. All right. Case in point, my mic just cut out in the middle of me recording, but we're not going to stop. You know why? Because ain't nobody mad but the devil. We're going to keep it going. So here are the things that the Lord showed me that we can do to defend ourselves as we are building. So the first thing is going to be fast and pray, y'all. Fasting and prayer is such a crucial tool that we have as believers to quiet all the noise around us and focus on the Lord, to subdue our flesh so we're not getting distracted by all our desires. And prayer is the place where we need to go to position the Lord. What I want you to be doing during this time of prayer is seeking God's voice concerning what you're building, the assignment that He gave you, asking Him for clarity, asking Him for wisdom and divine strategy, asking Him for strategies to overcome any setbacks you may face, and also to be able to discern whether something is actually a divine redirection. So prayer and fasting, seeking God, those are the things that you want to do throughout your journey of building, not just at the beginning, at the start, but throughout your journey. Definitely incorporating that as part of your spiritual practices, especially during this season. The second thing, in addition to fasting and prayer, that you're going to have to keep in mind is that you might have to build alone in this season. This might have to be a time where it's literally just you and the Lord locked in in these initial stages, Be wise about who you tell what the Lord has called you to do, who you share that vision with, and who you invite into it. It might just be you and God, because the more voices that can come in and speak to it, the more the enemy has an opportunity to kind of infiltrate what you're doing from the inception and kind of speak against your confidence, speak against the vision. Did God really say? Is He really gonna, you really want to keep it close to the vest initially to kind of defend at that initial inception stage. Along with that, be ready to resist the spirit of fear that may come upon you. Anytime the Lord is calling us into something new, or just like Peter stepping out of the boat in the middle of the storm, it's like we really have to be steadfast in our faith, and fear is in opposition to faith. It's there to make you doubt what God told you. Maybe it'll be speaking voices of insecurity over you. Like, who do you think you are? You're not good enough for this. You're going to fail. Different voices of fear that might come up. Be ready to resist those and to silence any voice. It could be your mom. It could be your spouse. Whoever it is that is speaking doubt over the situation, you want to silence those voices immediately in your life. Voices telling you that, yeah, you're going to fail. How is this going to work? This is crazy. You can't do this. Whatever those voices might be saying, you need to silence them. Be prepared. Know that they're going to come, and be ready to silence them and speak God's truth instead. You know the vision God gave you. You know what He told you. You know what He showed you. So be ready to stand on that when those voices of fear and doubt come in. Next up, don't despise small beginnings. We have the tendency to want to see results immediately, and it leads us to being discouraged when we don't get that instant gratification. So understand that this is just a seedling. It's just a little infant baby. It's going to grow into something beautiful in its time. Now, can the Lord prosper something immediately? Absolutely. But as you're building this thing, God is doing a work in you. And so it may take time for you to see the fruits of your labor, because God wants to show you things. He wants you to understand Him more. He wants you to learn things about yourself through this process. So don't despise the process of starting something small, starting something new. Maybe your business isn't making 6 figures yet. Maybe you don't have 1 million followers just yet, but just be faithful in the small beginning that God has given you. Definitely don't get discouraged if things are not moving as quickly as you want them to. That's a very quick way for the enemy to get you in a place of wanting to quit or give up before you even really got started. Okay, very, very important. These last 2 things are super important, and they're from this passage in Nehemiah especially. We have to be watchful, and be vigilant to look for the areas or anticipate areas where the enemy might be coming to attack. It could be your finances. It could be your relationships. It could be your confidence that he comes after. It's different ways that he can try to infiltrate and break down what the Lord is doing. And so when you start to see things turning and that warfare start to enter into the chat, be aware and just be like, okay, I know what this is. Yeah, things seem like they're falling apart right now, but all this is a tactic of the enemy to get me to quit. Be aware of it, be ready for it, and be ready for war. When you see stuff going wrong, get get on your knees, get in prayer, start calling out to the Lord for help, start declaring what it is that you want to see. Resist all his tactics. Because a lot of times we can kind of think, we kind of just lay down and take it. We see things starting to happen and we're like the rug got pulled under from us. We're shocked. We're unprepared to counterattack when the enemy comes to attack us. We just lay there and take it. No, the Lord is calling us to be prepared for a fight. Be ready for the fight. Be watching. When you see that enemy on the horizon, go to battle. Go to battle. Anticipate him. Pray over the areas that you know he might be able to attack. Fortify those areas. So be ready for war and be watchful of where he might attack. And lastly, so important, do not stop building. No matter what comes your way, no matter what circumstances you find yourself in, do not stop building. That is exactly what the enemy wants. That's how he is successful. As long as you keep building, he is defeated. He's lost. You are victorious when you continue on in what God has called you to do. You do your part and watch God do his part. Watch how he's actually going to be the one to fight for you in some of these situations. When you just agree with him, when you give him your yes, when you commit to the assignment that he's given you, you're going to see him move so mightily, because the thing you're building, he gave it to you. He gave you the vision. It's his idea. It's his plan. And so he's going to prosper it. But you just have to keep going. Do not stop building. Do not get discouraged. Do not fall into a place of fear that makes you give up on what God has called you to do. So many different people, so many destinies could be attached to this assignment. And so keep on going. I hope this encouraged you. I hope you took something helpful away from this. Let me know in the comments what God is calling you to build and how you're going to be preparing for any attack that the enemy might bring. If any of this resonated with you, send it to a friend that you think it may help. And if you want to join me on this journey of growing in the love of Christ, join the community, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.